Hey guys, it's Jason here from the Omni Sales team. And do you want to know the #1 trait to get you to the next level? It doesn't matter what you do in this world, whether you're in sales, sports, coaching, whether you do a job, every single person needs to do this. So guys, grab a pen and paper, be prepared to take some notes, because remember, what is written is retained. And let's get into this video. So guys, in today's video, we're going over the power of role playing. What's the importance of role playing? Who should do it, and why you can't afford not to be doing it. As I said in the intro, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody needs to role play. So #1 is who should role play? Everyone. The moment you say you don't need a role play, you don't need a coach, you don't need to practice anymore, I'm like, who do you think you are? Like really, who do you think you are if you think you don't need to practice and role play anymore? Because role playing essentially is just practicing sales. My question to you is, why do actors at the very top level still rehearse their lines? Even if you're Tom Cruise, why does he sit there and study his lines before he goes out and delivers them? Why does Michael Jordan or Kobe or Tiger Woods, why do they continue to practice if they're already the best in the world? Why do elite UFC fighters continue to practice grappling? Because ultimately, when you stop practicing or you stop role playing, you start regressing. Or when you practice and you role play in real life situations, you lose. Why? Because mistakes, or there's going to be things that are going to come up that you're not prepared to deal with, and that's going to drag down the likelihood of the sale moving forward, or the game progressing, or you winning. So every single person in this world should be role playing and practicing in their chosen art or their chosen field in order to stay ahead and to continue to grow. Now, what I want you to understand is what happens if you don't role play and you don't get better and you just stay the same. So let's assume that these are the levels you're going through and you just stay the same. If you just stay the same, that's the first sign of regression. Why? Because everybody else is practicing getting better, and that standard is slowly rising. And if you just stay where you are, watch what happens. It rises, the standard rises, you're actually getting worse and worse because the standard is rising. So role playing at its essence is either just keeping you to the standard moving up or getting you ahead and getting you better. So when we say who should role play, the answer is everybody. #2, how to role play. So one of the hardest things for a lot of you guys is you either don't have someone to role play with, or you don't have the confidence to go up and ask a colleague to role play with you. So how do you do it if you have no? We'll start with how do you role play if you don't have anyone? Guys, there's 2 great ways to role play without anyone. The first way is going and grabbing one of those beautiful mirrors in your bathroom and just sitting there and role playing with yourself. Like just looking yourself in the eyes when you're making a sale, when you're talking through an objection, when you're presenting an idea, just talking to yourself and look in your own eyes and see if you believe what you're saying. Tell everyone, before you should even role play with someone or sell to anyone, you should look in the mirror and see when you're explaining it to yourself, do you actually believe what you're saying? Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but every day people are reaching out asking, Jason, how can we do sales training with you? So if you're in new home construction, if you've just started, if you're a seasoned pro, even if you're the #1 sales consultant at your company, every single one of us need a coach to get to that next level. So if that sounds like someone like you, click on the link in the description right now. It's going to ask for your name, your number, and a simple opt-in message to say I can give you a call. But if you want to skip past that entirely, simply text the number on the screen right now, 0427 915 668. Just text me a question, guys, and I'll jump on a call and have a chat with you right now. But guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. Let's get back to it. Because if you look in your own eyes and you don't believe, then how is a customer going to believe you? How is a client going to take the confidence in what you're saying to be true? So when we're role playing, the first way we do it is we just look in the mirror naturally and do it. Now, let's say you're a bit uncomfortable with that, because a lot of people are. The second way, or what you can do to be even easier, is you set up a mobile phone and you point the mobile phone at you, not on selfie mode, but the other way, the back of the phone, so you can't see your face. You have the mobile phone pointing at you and you just record yourself. Once you finish recording yourself, open up the recording and then review it and look at it and see how you can tweak yourself. First way. So mobile phone, then we move on to the mirror, because once you've done it a few times on the mobile phone and you get used to your voice, you get used to the way you look, you get used to your sound, it'll give you the confidence to then move on the mirror. Once you're onto the mirror, do it and look yourself in the eyes. This is a live view of you selling now. You can tweak things on the go. Like I'm looking into the camera right now and I can tweak myself and go, oh, I'm not quite in the right spot or whatnot, or I don't feel like I have that intention in my eyes or my voice. You can do it live. Once you finish with the mirror, then try and move on to a partner, a sibling, a family member, Someone like that, someone that you are close to personally, where you can make mistakes and you won't feel super heavily judged, or they'll at least give you the confidence to prep you back up. Once you finish doing it with a family member, try and find a colleague. You'll find out, guys, that there is a couple of colleagues, even if they're a little bit lower on the sales leaderboard, or they're higher ones especially, there's going to be someone who just wants to do some role playing or do some training as well. Why? Because they genuinely want to get better as well. So find a colleague and maybe you guys set up and do something together. Then if you don't have a colleague, the best person to ask should be your manager. Your manager's responsibility is to grow and develop you. So if you need to do role playing, do it with your manager. The beautiful thing of doing it with your manager is they might be judging you harsher than anyone else, but it's their job to get you better. So if you screw up, understand, when you screw up, it's your manager's responsibility to fix that and to educate you to help you get better. If you continuously screw up and the manager knows or the leader knows, then it's actually their fault and they screwed up by not helping you and getting you better. So the manager is the fourth step. So how to role play, you find the mobile phone, you find the mirror, you find a family member, you find a colleague, you find a manager. And then obviously as you go through all of those people and all of those ways of role playing, you'll then find either a group that you can do it with regularly, or you'll just see yourself getting more and more confident, which leads us on to step 3. Step 3, this is the biggest misconception in the world because everyone says practice makes perfect. That is not true. Number 3 says practice makes permanent. If you practice the wrong thing over and over and over again, it's not perfect, it's still wrong, but it's permanently the way you do something. So for an example, I have a couple of speech issues. I've always had them. I say words slightly wrong. I've practiced certain ways of speaking so many times that I say words slightly wrong. Now they've become permanent to me. So even though speaking those words and doing it every day and practicing, I didn't become perfect at speaking. I became perfect at doing it wrong, which just is the word of saying permanent. Now, how do you perfect something? You practice perfectly. So you practice the perfect way of doing something over and over again. Practice makes perfect. That's how that transition happens. But the key is practice actually makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect permanently. But if you're not perfectly practicing, then you're just going to make a permanent habit. But the key is what we're doing with role play and why it's so important is when someone hits us with an objection, when someone hits us with something we don't know how to explain, if we've practiced it and we've got it in our memory of how to do it, we can start to go on autopilot. The other reason that role playing is so important in sales is the more you can dive into your subconscious way of like communicating with someone, which is where you can sort of turn your brain off and your brain just operates and talks and communicates. It gives your body, the conscious side of your body, more ability to be able to assess how the client's taking that, to see the emotion the client's feeling, to see if a client is falling away, if they're not understanding what you're saying. Like if you're trying to explain site costs to someone, and you're really thinking about like what you're explaining and it all, you're not having any time to look at the client to see if they're actually taking on and absorbing what you're saying. So what'll happen is you'll explain something, the client will start to lose track because they don't really know what's going on, and then they'll fall away and they won't be listening at all. And you'll be sitting there just keep talking to a brick wall pretty much. That's why the more you can role play, the more you can get yourself to be more accustomed with what you're saying, the easier it is to be able to assess the situation and then change on the go. Like if I see a client starting to fall away or not understand, I'll either bring them back up by going, hey guys, do you understand what's going on here? Or, hey guys, let me explain that a different way. I can see you're not understanding. Or, hey guys, look, it's really not that important, that stuff. Hey, let's move on to this, which is a little bit more fun, and re-engage the client. But you're not gonna do that unless you role play, practice. Now, the last thing I wanna say with role playing, this is the magic key. You should never role play live. Why? Because when you role play live, you're playing with real money. You're playing with real commission. You're no longer in practice mode. You're playing to win now. And if you don't, you end up losing. If I lose in practice, I lose no real money. But if I practice and I role play in real life, and I'm practicing in real life, and the customer shuts me down or I can't answer something, I'm losing real money, or I'm not leading my clients to the transformation. So please understand that everyone should role play. How do you role play? You should do it with everything and anyone you can, and ultimately keep practicing to make your word tracks permanent, to make your presentation style permanent, so that when you're presenting to the client, you can have the conscious view of how you can actually help them if they're falling away. So guys, if you need any help with role playing, if you want to practice and you don't have anyone, guys, simply just text the number on the screen. Let's just do one session together. Jump on, we'll have a call, we'll set up the video message, and we can practice. Text the number on the screen right now, guys, 0427 915 668, and we'll set up a time. As always, guys, I love you. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of it. If you follow those tracks, I promise you're going to become way more lethal in the displays. As always, drop a like, a comment, your toughest objection. We'll do a separate video on that, and we'll see you on the next one.